Hello students, welcome to class 10th SST. Myself SJP. Today I am going to start a new chapter. The name of the chapter is The Making of a Global World. This is part first. Children, the topic is the pre-modern world. Children, pre-modern world means right now we are living in modern world, and from where this modern world begin, that is pre-modern world, means the beginning of modern world. Approx 50 years back modern world started. Children, before we discuss this topic, we want to describe globalization. What is globalization? Children, globalization is a term that refers to economics, means it relates the economics of various countries, and it is a vast process that started from 50 years back, and it originated, and globalization started, and it crossed the boundary of various countries, and there was free flow of trade, labor, culture, education, and various other things. So it is the thing of globalization that we are going to study. However, it is linked with history because it tells how culture globalized, how commodities globalized, how diseases spread from one country to another. If we consider 3000 BC, there was an active coastal link that started to and moved towards Indus Valley, means in Indus rivers and Indus Valley, and they brought a network of trade. Children, various trades were needed. That is this Indus Valley, right now it is known as West Asia, where this trade started. In pre-modern world, we will study about various types of diseases that moved from one place to another. So it is our duty to understand how these routes developed and what happened, how this network started, and what moved on these networks, and how various things transferred from one country to another countries, and how culture, education, and civilization moved from one place to another. To understand the pre-modern world, let us take the first topic, Silk Route link the world. The term Silk Route, it is very interesting term, means the route taken by traders to carry silk cargoes from China to West Asia. Children, these silk routes were network via land, via sea routes, and various other routes. So they had made passes, and it means it began from India and China, and silk cargoes they had to move towards West Asia. So it is our duty to understand the Silk Route, how it became popular, how Silk Route was used by various traders, and when it makes a network, means some silk routes moved here, some east, some west, some in this direction, some in this direction, some routes came and they linked. They are intersections, and at these points these traders had to meet, and at these places there were exchange of culture, education, commodities, even diseases were also exchanged. So silk routes became a very beneficial things, and it brought various types of food items from one country to another countries, cultures, languages, they also transferred via these traders. Many types of epics of India that moved towards West Asia, and many Islamic epics, Islamic literature, they came to India. Persian came to India, and various types of books, they were translated from from these Hindi and Sanskrit into Persian languages. Via these silk routes, Chinese pottery also came to India. These Chinese pottery, they became very popular in ancient times, such as Chinese cup plates and various other types of idols. Children, after this one, many types of India, many types of commodities, they were also traveled from India to West Asia. They were textile and spices. These things, they traveled via these these silk routes, and they became popular in Western countries. Children, one thing more that I want to describe, that in exchange, what came to India? In exchange of spices and textile in India, silver and gold coins came, and we became, richer day by day. One thing more, trade and culture both went hand to hand, and even Buddhism that spread via these silk routes across these intersection points of these trades at these sea routes. So children, various types of religious exchange, various types of literature exchanged, and many types of activities took place via these silk routes. Along with this, I want to discuss one more topic, that is food travels, that is spaghetti and potato. Children, via silk route, people and traders, they used to travel from one place to another to sell their commodities, and at these intersection points where they stayed, they started growing crops and told the technique of growing crops to the nearby local people who were living there, and they learned how to grow crops. They also gave seeds of their countries, and they sown all these things in their field, and crops started growing. In this manner, various types of crops, various types of food grains, they were exchanged, and among this, there was noodles and spaghetti. That noodles started from China, and it went to European countries and became spaghetti. And pasta, what we are eating today, it started from, you can say, West Asia, Italy, and various other countries moved towards, other European countries. In this manner, food were exchanged. Spaghetti, they became very popular among European countries. Children, one thing more, various types of other crops, they also came to different European countries, to India and Asia, and it created a huge exchange of various items. So food started traveling. Children, one thing more, accidentally Christopher Columbus, he discovered USA, that is America, what we know today. America consists of North America, South America, and Caribbean island. Children, when Columbus reached there, he found various types of different varieties of crops growing there, and he brought their seeds to European countries. Along with that, many traders, they also moved America, they also exchanged their items, and they gave European items to Americans and brought American food grains, American seeds, and American things to European countries, and from Europe it came to Asian countries like China and India, and it became a, you can say, exchange of these food crops. Our ancestors, what they were eating, soya bean, mustard, wheat, rice, maize, pulses, all these items, they came from America. What we in India, it was, nobody knew about this. Potato also came from America. And children, European countries, people became so fond of potato that they became habitual and they could not live without potato. Once in Europe, Ireland, potato famine took place. The farmers had, sowed their crops, but due to famine, the crop of potato was collapsed. So what happened then? People were so habitual, they never liked other items. They, starved without potato, and many people died. That was known as potato famine in Ireland. The topic began conquest, diseases, and trade. In this topic, we will try to understand how people started conquering different territories, different areas, and what weapons they used, and what policy they used. Children, you know very well that pre-modern world, it was totally shrank in 16th century, and after that European peoples, they took interest in trade, and they also discovered trade route. Before America was discovered, it was cut off by million of years from European countries and Asian countries. But when accidentally it was discovered, many traders, they started moving towards America. So they had discovered these trade routes, and they went there, and they found that America was a promising land, and there was huge variety of forest. There was vast lands, and you can say people, they were illiterate, they were dissenters, means they were totally, you can say, depended on previous practices, and they never wanted to leave that. That's why they were known as dissenters. And all these peoples, due to illiteracy, they could not understand European policy. Children, what happened? These Portuguese and other European countries, they went in America, and they explored this area. From there, various types of timbers, they were cut off, and it was brought in huge ships to European countries. Children, there is a fabled city, El Dorado. This is known as Gold City. And from there, gold mineral that came to European countries. Along with that, in Peru, you can say in America, which is now known as Peru, there silver mine, it was extracted, and this silver metal that came to European countries, and Europeans became rich day by day. And in this manner, Europeans, they started moving towards Western countries. Children, you know that Indian Ocean, it was major portion where trade was bustling, means many types of trade via sea routes, they were prevalent here. And these traders used to bring various items, and they had to take out Indian cotton, spices, textiles to European countries. So Europeans, they were they found that China and India, they are the richest country because of silk that grown in India and China. They had a demand, large number of demands were there, and you can say European people, they started wearing silk clothes that was imported from India and China via silk route. So people of Europe, Portuguese, Dutch, they thought that India and China is richest one, that's why it should be made their colony. That's why they started making colony in USA. Portuguese, Europeans, that is British people, Dutch people, they started conquering, American land, and started clearing that forest, so that the need of timber, for, making their navy stronger, and along with that making railway tracks could be fulfilled. And finally what happened? Means they started, you can say, taking help of inhabitants of America, because they were illiterate, they were only animal like activities, and they had been you can say made slave, and they were forced to do various types of work, and slave trade became also popular via silk route. Children, one thing more, plantation work. For plantation work in India and various countries where timber had to be cut, these American inhabitants, black people and red, all these people who were living there, they were brought as a slave and they were forced to work for European countries. So it made a, you can say a route, and you can say a best idea for that. Children, one thing more I want to discuss about biological warfare. In biological warfare, there was, diseases were used. European countries, they knew about smallpox that emerged in that country, and they had discovered vaccine for that. But these diseases they used to conquer America. They introduced smallpox patient in American inhabitants, and people after becoming a patient, they had no immunity for this disease, smallpox. That's why they started dying day by day, and you can say most of the population of America that was died because of smallpox disease. This was a Spanish disease, and you can say, children, this caused a conquest very easily. Children, guns can be bought. बंदूकें खरीदी जा सकती हैं. इट कैन बी कैप्चर्ड, इसे छीना भी जा सकता है. एंड इट कैन बी टर्न्ड अगेंस्ट इन्वेडर्स, और उसको इन्वेडर्स के खिलाफ उसकी तरफ निशाना लगा के इसको मारा भी जा सकता है. बट व्हाट अबाउट डिजीजेस? That is not possible with this. That's why Europeans became successful and conquered most of the territories of the world using diseases. And they began their trade, and slave trade became popular. And these people all they started capturing wealth from these countries and brought to European countries, and Europe became wealthier day by day. And all countries, they were collected so huge wealth that they had developed various types of things. Technology grew there. Many types of inventions took place, and Europeans became the hub of latest technology. And you can say that this biological warfare, it created a strong, you can say, capture of Europeans towards various other countries. Okay, thank you for watching this clip.